Hey guys, it's Troy from Lockdown London, and I want to talk to you about something really important today. So listen up very carefully because here's the truth. Here is the red pill reality. Finding the one is not going to save you. Okay, finding the one is not going to save you. All right, so what do I mean? What am I talking about? Well, I wanted to do this video anyway. I wanted to talk about this anyway because it's a very fundamental thing that you need to understand. But I read an article just now, actually, which I think kind of dovetails quite well into the topic. So I'll link it below. But I'll just tell you a little bit about what it says in that article. Basically, there's this woman, and she was writing anonymously for a newspaper here in the UK, and she was explaining how she's married. She's been married to this guy, I think, for like quite a considerable period of time. But she's having an affair. And the reason that she's having an affair, she says, is because her husband, who was previously able-bodied, has now some sort of illness, which means that he is housebound and they basically don't have a sex life, okay, because, well, for whatever reason, his condition has affected that adversely, and I think he doesn't work, and so she is the main provider plus a caregiver, etc., etc. So she obviously, after a while, I say obviously, that's actually not the correct thing to say. After a while, she began to find this situation somewhat irksome. And she met this other guy at work, and then blah, blah, blah. Long story short, she ends up having an affair with this guy and actually moving the guy that she's having an affair with into this property that her and her husband own, because they own some buy-to-let properties. And she is then going over to visit this guy under the pretense of, I guess, cleaning the apartment or whatever. And they're having sex, doing whatever. And so the affair's been going on for a while, and the reason that the woman was writing this piece was to say, obviously we've got a bit of a problem now because of coronavirus, and we're supposed to be quarantined. However, she is still going to see the lover, and she says, I'm not feeling guilty about this. I'm being very careful in terms of washing my hands and the virus, but this, I can't leave my husband, but this new guy is the love of my life, and etc. etc. So this is not a good state of affairs, because apart from anything else, whatever she says, she is going out unnecessarily. She is meeting up with this other dude. I mean, who knows where this other dude is going, or what he's up to in his spare time. But, it seems to me that there is a risk that she could, pick up coronavirus and then take that and infect potentially her husband, who's at home bedridden. But that's one aspect of it. But the other, I suppose, larger in a way aspect of it is that she is being unfaithful with this guy that she married, and I'm sure at the time he assumed this was forever. He assumed that she was the one for him and that this would all be fantastic. And now look at where they've wound up, because through no fault of his own, I imagine. Well, how would it be his fault? He's got this condition whereby he's incapacitated. He's not able to have a normal sex life. He's not able to get up and work. And the person that he married is now, cheating on him. Now, she, I'm sure, has her own side of the story. I think from my cursory reading of the article, her position is sort of like, well, look, I'm staying with the guy because I do love him. However, I have needs that need to be met, etc., etc. So that sort of justifies in her mind what she's doing with this other guy. But now I'll leave you to make up your own mind about how you see the ethics of that and everything. I mean, I try not to think about these things in terms of ethics, really. Nature is amoral. Human nature is, we are animals, we are part of nature, and people will, men and women, will generally act according to their best interests and according to the options that they have. So while it can be tempting for some commentators to be very down on one gender or the other, they can be very down on women, and obviously you get feminist people who are very, very down on men. I personally think that human nature itself is flawed. Human nature itself is inherently self-interested, let's say, and I think that can manifest itself from men and women. I think if a lot of guys had the option to who are happily married would have the option to sleep with a bunch of Venezuelan swimwear models, then they would probably take that option if they were honest and they thought that there was no chance of getting found out. So, I don't want to get into sort of moral high ground grandstanding here, but the point really is that the idea that you're going to find the one and that is going to somehow save you is, I think, an error, and it's one that you need to seek to remove from your mind as quickly as you can. Because look at this guy. I mean, and look, let's be honest. It doesn't. We don't get any sense, any history, any information on how they came to be married, how they started dating, and everything else. But let's assume that they're just a normal couple and things kind of got together in the normal sort of way. I am absolutely certain that this guy considered this lady to be the one, the love of his life, the woman who he would, I suppose, have children with, have a family with, live forever with. They would go together in sickness and in health, through good times and bad. And now look at it. Now look at the situation. As I said, he's in bad health, and so she has elected to take this particular course of action. And now, potentially, he's being endangered with coronavirus as well, to the boot. So, yeah, not ideal. And what I'm saying is that, people will say, well, you've just got to choose the right person. You've just got to meet the right person, and then things will be okay. Because if you vetted the woman that you're going to be with properly, and I guess this goes for if you vetted the guy you're going to marry properly as well, then they're not going to do that. There are good people out there. And yes, you can have a very successful and happy relationship. And I call bullshit on that, to be honest. And not because I think that all people are bad or that this is definitely always going to happen. But the point of the fact is, what you have to recognize is that people are self-interested. People are going to do what is best for them. And even if they promise something, even if they tell you 100%, yes, this is how it's going to be forever, etc., etc., the difficulty is you don't know what circumstances are going to be like down the line. You don't know how things are going to play out. And yeah, sometimes things aren't going to go as we hope, as we would wish. And yeah, trusting in the idea that the one is going to be there to look after you forever, or is going to be there in the way that you want them to be there for you forever, is, I would say, foolhardy. So just disabuse yourself of this idea that I've just got to find the one. I've just got to find the one, and then it's all going to be amazing forever. Because that's not true. As I will often say to people who complain about not having a relationship, yes, I understand, why you would want to have a relationship and so on, but recognize that a relationship is often just the start of your problems rather than the conclusion of them. So anyway, look, I hope that makes some sense. I hope you got something out of that. I'm going to leave it for today. I'm going to do my run in a bit. We're allowed out once a day for exercise, so I'm going to go and take advantage of the lovely, hot, sunny London weather. A few parish notices from me. Grab Renegade Dating Blueprint, my collection of 11 books about dating, the sexual marketplace, and so on. The link is below in the description. Subscribe to this channel. It really helps me to get the word out, get new people on board, to continue putting out this content for you. Also, the other thing to say is I've got a special video product which I'm putting out to subscribers of my email list and Patreon only this weekend. So it opens on Friday and it's open through till Tuesday. It's a very special video product. So if you want more info on that, get onto my email list, link below, or get onto my Patreon VIP members area, link below, because I'm only putting this out to those people on those platforms. I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye.